Good evening and welcome to the Savage Universe stream. I am JM, and with me tonight is Goose of Savage Goose, this new YouTube channel that has been created for Savage Worlds. It's gaining traction. Congratulations on the follower jump, and welcome to Savage Universe.
Thanks for having me, JM. Appreciate being here.
So why don't we start by introducing yourself and tell us how you got into Savage Worlds.
So I am Josh Giesler. That's my actual name. A lot of my friends, even my coworkers, call me Goose. That's been a nickname of mine for half my lifetime at this point. And I love tabletop role-playing games. And how I got into Savage Worlds is a question I'm not positive on, but the earliest memory I have of actually like looking into Savage Worlds was actually a Pirates of the Spanish Main setting. I remember I found that because I was looking for a pirate game, and somehow I found that instead of 50 Fathoms. So that was kind of my first introduction to it. And the overall goal was actually to play a game that was just generically fantasy, nothing specific. And I tried doing that with my players for a bit. I didn't fully understand the system at the time. And like trying to figure out classes, understanding I needed a separate book other than just what was in the Spanish Main setting book. Mm-hmm. Jump forward to 2014, 2015. 2014 is when another game started, and we did that. And then I switched over to Savage Worlds again with Savage Worlds Deluxe Edition to play The Last Parsec.
Yes.
And The Last Parsec game was probably one of my favorite campaigns I've ever run. Part of it because of the players. The players I had in that game were great. Just great role-playing all around, and really kind of embraced the system in a very exciting way. And then I didn't play for a couple of years. I was mostly playing 5e, and then the announcement for Savage Worlds Adventure Edition came out, and I was on that Kickstarter immediately. Got the Kickstarter, got the box right here, and so got the whole shindig, and just dove right into playing again with Savage Worlds. Adventure Edition really reminded me of how much I loved the system. There's a lot of things I just really enjoyed about it, and also like thinking back to the Last Parsec game, just reminding me like, yeah, I really want to be in this game again. I want to play this system. So we played a Rippers campaign for a little bit, having to adapt a few things to Adventure Edition from Deluxe Edition. I think we just jumped from Rippers right into my ETU game that I actually just finished about a week ago after a year or two, and we're just about to dive into a Pathfinder for Savage Worlds campaign.
Very cool. You've now started this channel on YouTube, The Savage Goose. What prompted you to step into the arena of content creation?
I actually have another channel. I'm not going to talk about it, but there's another channel that I spent a lot of time on. I'll just say that it had to do with whiskey, and my wife got pregnant not recently. It was a while ago at this point. And I decided that while she's pregnant, I'm just not going to drink. I'm not going to do anything with the channel. But I still wanted to engage with YouTube and everything. And at the same time, I was still really heavy into our ETU campaign, and had been watching a lot of like other content for other systems, mainly D&D. And I was like, I really should be trying to watch and take in some content for Savage Worlds, since that's the system I'm really playing. So when I looked for people who were doing content, I found a few channels that had like some one-off things about Savage Worlds, a Saving Throw show, a few other channels, and then one channel that was dedicated Savage Worlds, and that was a Savage Worlds GM with Carl and Eric. And so I watched a lot of their content, but looking at the space, I was like, there's still a lot of room for somebody to be making content on YouTube in this space. At the time, it felt, I was like, this is something I'm interested in. I feel like I can make good content for this space, and I'm still working on trying to figure out exactly how I'm going to do that. Obviously, I have videos out, but I'm still trying to work on making better videos with higher quality and everything. Looking at what was out there, I was like, I can fit into the space without kind of stepping in on anyone else's toes and still be somewhat successful and trying to share my love for Savage Worlds, especially with a lot of things going on in the RPG community in general. I just felt like doing something with Savage Worlds could really lead to a lot of opportunities, clearly, since you guys are talking to me, and just also trying to get more players to experience how great Savage Worlds is. I fell in love with it, and I'm sure other people will too. And so I just want to share that love with other people, and hopefully get other people to come in and try the system.
What kind of content are you focusing on your channel? Like, what's kind of the elevator pitch for how you are approaching Savage Worlds?
I'm still trying to figure out, I guess, what I would say is my content strategy. Having done another channel, I've watched a lot of content about like how to do YouTube and everything, and I'm still trying to figure out what I want to be doing here. Currently, what I'm doing is I'm just trying to talk about Savage Worlds in any way possible that I feel comfortable in. The past few videos I've done have just been like favorite things of mine in Savage Worlds that I enjoy. So the video launched today was my 5 favorite background setting, or sorry, my favorite setting rules in the Savage Worlds core rulebook. Last one was my favorite background edges. I think a couple before that was some 5 combat tips. And the combat tips is more what I want to be doing, is more just tips on how to enjoy the game more, how to run things, how to kind of ensure that you're using all the rules to the best possible way. But I also want to start doing some more tutorial videos and just how to do general things. Like I have a video about basic combat, doing some more tutorial videos to kind of explain different systems. I've had a lot of requests for videos about the chase rules and how to make chases. So look into that kind of stuff. But I also want to do review videos, and we talked before. Is that's something I'm interested in doing, or just not just for Pinnacle's content, but for content for anybody in the swag community who's interested in having that, and it's just giving me the opportunity to read through the content and then just give a review and my thoughts of it, so that people out there who are looking for a new system or a new setting can find it, figure out if they want to try it or not, go get it, and everything. Really, right now, it's just anything Savage Worlds. Kickstarters, new settings, tutorials. If it's about Savage Worlds, that's what I want it to be about. So then those are the kind of things I want to make content for, is looking at all of what I think are amazing subsystems in Savage Worlds. And that's one of the things I found really difficult in like D&D. And if you watch my one video about the reasons I hate D&D, and just to be clear, I don't really hate D&D. Because of Savage Worlds, I've realized you know what, D&D just doesn't do this very well. And again, subsystems, the way that Savage Worlds does them, is one of the things I love. And Dramatic Task specifically is one of my favorite subsystems, I think. Mm-hmm. I used it in my last Parsec game, and it was one of the most memorable scenes in my RPG gaming career, was using Dramatic Tasks inside of combat on a spaceship in the last Parsec.
Yeah. So do you have any goals for expanding the channel beyond just commentary on Savage Worlds? Like, is stepping into actual play something you're interested in?
I actually started an actual play, I want to say it was like 2018. That was a lot of work.
It really is.
And it's a lot of work. And if I'm honest, the audio didn't sound great. And right now I'm not interested in that, because honestly, there's plenty of Savage Worlds actual plays out there, and actual plays in general. So I don't feel like I need to step into that space, because there's a lot of other things out there. I'm much happier just being in this space of teaching and doing tutorials. And
I love your polls that you put up.
Yeah, the engagement on the polls has been really good. And now I'm just like, I need to keep this up. And I'm trying to figure out more questions to create.
What is it about Savage Worlds that you love that kind of, as you said, pointed out, hey, these games don't do this thing as well as Savage Worlds does, which is why I'm here in the Savage Worlds space. Not to disparage other games, because we love all games, but this is the Savage Worlds stream, and we love Savage Worlds most of all.
So this is actually a video I have been working on, is trying to basically just say, what are my favorite things about Savage Worlds? And there's a lot. The one thing is bennies. Obviously, bennies are wonderful. I think for people who don't like bennies, because there's people that'll come in and they don't like the bennies. They don't like how it lets their players re-roll so many times, and it feels overpowered. And I think that kind of goes back to a game philosophy of Savage Worlds, in that the characters are the heroes. And so more often than not, we want them to succeed. Giving those bennies, giving them the ability to turn failure into success is one of the big things in Savage Worlds. Obviously, we want to try to challenge the players a little bit, but that's definitely one of the things. So bennies is one thing. I think the exploding dice mechanic is another one of those things that people don't always like, because they're like, oh no, it exploded to 30, 40 damage. I mean, I had a player in our Rippers game that one-shotted a T-Rex because he just shot them and did, I think it was 40, 50 points of damage, because things just kept exploding. And that's okay. I think people have to learn the different philosophy about Savage Worlds when it comes to that kind of play. I also feel like Savage Worlds kind of plays a little bit faster. Obviously, the part of the slogan for Savage Worlds is fast, furious, fun, right? And I see that. I see that in Savage Worlds. I do feel like combat goes faster, and to say why, I don't fully know. I think it's just that things get damaged more quickly. And that kind of leads into some of the other reasons that I like Savage Worlds. The wound system, I think, is great. HP makes sense, but definitely comes from more of or doesn't kind of say come from it, but it definitely makes you think more in a video game mindset when you're working with hit points versus wounds. And something that you have to realize as a player with wounds is that one wound can be detrimental to your character. That's a -1 to all of your rolls. And so I think even I notice this in myself when I play sometimes is that I go, oh, it's just one wound. It's not that important. I'll let it go this time. I won't worry about soaking it. And then like that comes back to haunt you because when you make your soak roll later for other wounds, you still have that -1. So yeah, wounds just feel more serious and kind of makes players, I think, react more seriously to combat than some other systems do. I didn't know this until I started playing Savage Worlds, but I realized how much I didn't like classes until later. And one of the videos I'm working on right now is about the class edges in Pathfinder. To spoil the end of the video, basically, I've decided that I am okay with the Pathfinder class edges. I think it definitely takes the game a different direction if you're playing in that kind of a Pathfinder Savage Worlds game. But in the end, what they are is just kind of like a package set of edges, and they unlock other possible edges, which we already have. We already have edges that unlock other edges. That's the thing that we have. My fear when I first heard about them from the Kickstarter was that they were going to be things that like at this point you unlock this and you get this. And it's not that. It's just like any other edge that you advance, and if you want to take that edge, you have to take it. The problem is that people were worried about with classes and class edges. I don't think it's a concern. Long list of things I like about Savage Worlds more than other systems. I like the initiative system better. I like the hold action better. I like that you can interrupt people. I like how magic works, which that has been a point of contention in my group about liking the magic system. I think my players are still just trying to work out kind of understanding how creative you can be with the magic system in Savage Worlds, because I think a lot of people who come from other systems look at the magic or powers and they just reads this very blurb and it's very generic and not fully understanding, even though we have a whole entire section about trappings, that it's really up to you to kind of really customize it and seeing all the customization that you can do to it.
What's been the most surprising one for you where you're like, I'm going to make this video. This was way more in depth than I had anticipated, and now I have to find a way to like distill it down?
If I'm honest, I haven't had too much trouble with that yet. From the outset, I had planned to start with like a basic concept before moving into some more advanced concepts. I expect that those more advanced concepts are going to be the ones where I start to struggle a little bit more. So right now we're doing basic combat, and I'm not mentioning reckless attack. I'm not mentioning savage attack. No, that's not what it's called.
Wild attack.
Wild attack, thank you. I kind of slipped my mind there. So not doing wild attack, not doing reckless attack, not doing any of the special like aiming for shooting or anything like that. I'm just kind of covering, here's what shooting does, here's what fighting does, here's what throwing does, or how to throw, I should say. So just kind of cover like those basic pieces of combat. I'm doing one on spellcaster right now. I'm not talking about trappings. I am talking about trappings. I'm talking about power modifiers, but I'm not talking about any special edge cases for different edges or arcane devices. I imagine arcane devices will be a whole entire other video. The one I expect that will probably go a little bit more in depth is actually, or not more in depth, but it'll be more to talk about, and it's not going to be easy. Wouldn't be easy to split up into multiple videos. Is going to be the chase system, just because there's a lot of different things you have to go into to talk about, like, okay, a foot chase versus a vehicle chase versus an air chase, understanding maneuvers, understanding initiative based on different aspects of that. And there's a lot of rules in I think the chase subsystem might be one of the largest subsystems in the book. Dramatic tasks is only like a page, but the chase ones, I think it was 4 pages. So compared to some of the other subsystems, the chase rules are some of the longest ones.
And then you got the quick chase decks, which work slightly different.
Yeah, and that I thought about putting those two in the same video and just talking about okay, here's like which one should you use in which situation, because I definitely have after doing both of them, I definitely have a preference for one or the other depending on like the situation we're doing. If the chase is like the major part of the scene, we're going to use the chase rules, because that's so when in ETU there was a situation when the players were being chased out of a facility. I'm not going to go into spoilers, but they're being chased out, and I ran as a chase scene instead of a quick chase. And then we were playing Savage Pathfinder. I don't even think I was jamming that. I think Eric was. He had a goblin running away. I was like, okay, we should resolve this with a quick chase instead of going, okay, he moves 30 feet and then runs. Okay, I move 6 inches and then I run, and then just going back and forth that way, because that just is kind of boring, and then just can take forever. And so instead of doing it that way, we just did it as a quick chase, just to kind of get that resolved. And so I think there's definitely certain situations that each chase system lends itself to. And I want to talk about that in a video, but I think that's going to be like a separate video from explaining how chases work.
After you do them.
Explaining how quick chase works. And then, okay, let's talk about the two of them together.
Do you have a regular posting schedule?
I'm trying to make it once a week. Honestly, life gets in the way sometimes. Not in a way,
true.
in a bad way. You know, I have a full family. My wife runs a business of her own. I have my normal job. Definitely trying to make it once a week, but there's no guarantees that will be. And the way I'm trying to kind of fill in those gaps is by those posts, like those quizzes that you were talking about earlier, that people seem to really enjoy. Even if
I would agree.
People are saying that they're getting a lot of them wrong, which I'm like, when you look at the stats, it seems like most people are getting them right. So I'm not too worried about that.
I mean, that's because they let us change our answers. Anything else you would want to say kind of in conclusion here? I mean, I feel like we've talked a lot of Savage Worlds, and I'm so excited that you have a new channel that's, you know, full of Savage World goodness. We've got it up on the playlist on Savage Universe. If you are looking for it, just go over to savageuniverse.com, go to the Savage World Media Network, scroll down and find it, and it'll take you right to his channel.
Yeah, the only thing I have to say is just I'm excited for the support I've gotten already. Being on here is a pretty big deal, and then the channel's grown way faster than I expected, and so I'm very excited, and I'm hoping that I can get you guys the content you want. And I'm looking forward to making more content and just trying to teach everybody and show everybody my love for Savage Worlds, and hopefully get other people to love Savage Worlds too. All
right, everybody. Until next time, go out and play some Savage Worlds. Hope all your dice ace. This has been another Savage Universe. We'll see you next week.
Stay savage.